Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. It's 2020, and what's the first big Epstein news of the new year? Well, it's that Ghislaine Maxwell, allegedly, is being protected, you think, by a network of safe houses because of her connections to numerous foreign intelligence services, and one of those safe houses is alleged to be where, you guessed it, Israel. Now, I want to say this out of the gates. There's a ton of disinformation out there. Page 6, aka the Post, the New York Post, is the publication that's putting this information out. And they've done some really great reporting in regards to the Epstein case, and they've done some really suspect and shady reporting, including publishing those photographs of Ghislaine Maxwell supposedly in Los Angeles where we could see the photoshopping. Okay? So, without further ado, let's read this article top to bottom. Ghislaine Maxwell, the British socialite, who's long been accused of serving as Jeffrey Epstein's madam, is hiding in a series of safe houses and is being protected because of the information she has on the most powerful people in the world. Maxwell, 58, procured young women and groomed them to have sex with Epstein and his wealthy pals, but she has remained out of the public view after the convicted sex offender's rearrest last year and his death in jail in August. She has always denied any wrongdoing. On the heels of a Reuters report that Maxwell was the main focus of investigation by the FBI into several people who facilitated the dead pedophile's alleged sexual abuse, a source tells Page 6, Ghislaine is protected. She and Jeffrey were assets of sorts for multiple foreign governments. They would trade information about powerful people caught in his net, caught at Epstein's house. Now let's talk about this right here. Here's the deal. We've been talking about since November that the FBI was supposedly ready to arrest 4 separate people. Now, most of us assumed one of them would be Ghislaine Maxwell. The original indictment from July when he was arrested had 3 separate employees who were working with the NYPD and the FBI against Epstein. Now, we already know names of other high-level facilitators in this conspiracy, such as Sarah Kalin, Leslie Groth, Nadia Marcinkova, and others. Okay, let's get that right out of the way. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell obviously has been protected, and obviously the cleanup crew is totally in on this at this point. Okay, 100%. But whether or not they're playing up to a lot of the public information that the Mossad was the main place where Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell did their work is another thing. They could be giving disinformation that that Israel is the main place. Because if you read this, the source added of Ghislaine, who has homes in Manhattan and London, she is not in the U.S. She moves around. She is sometimes in the U.K. I mean, Prince Andrew connection there, I'm just saying. But most often in other countries, such as Israel. Whether her powerful contacts have provided her with safe houses and where her powerful contacts have provided her with safe houses and protection. The source added that Britain's disgraced Prince Andrew had begged Maxwell to come forward and give an interview to protect him after he was accused of having sex with one of Epstein's most vocal accusers, Virginia Giuffre Roberts, which he strongly denies, which he is obviously guilty of sin. Anybody who watched that interview where he said he doesn't party and he couldn't physically sweat, I mean, it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. Right now, Virginia Roberts Giuffre is actually saying, listen, I'm not suicidal. I want to live a long life. I need to be protected. That's something the media needs to focus on a lot. The source said Andrew pleaded with Ghislaine to publicly defend him. She considered it, but decided no good would come of it, if she came forward. So remember those reports that she was going to do a tell-all interview? Don't think that that was part of the spin machine after his disastrous interview from the royal family. Okay, absolutely. And trying to pressure her. It isn't in her best interest. Lawyers for Maxwell didn't get back to us. Of course they didn't. The source also added, if the U.S. government was really interested in bringing in Ghislaine, the IRS would have looked at her tax returns and her income she may have got from Epstein and perhaps some of his powerful associates. Well, they also baseline would have raided the New Mexico ranch, Zorro Ranch. Okay? That would have happened. And they wouldn't have waited for as long to go into the island, period. So for those just joining us, again, the headlines are that Ghislaine Maxwell is being protected. She is an asset of foreign governments, and that among those network of safe houses are in the United Kingdom and Israel. Now, I want to say this again. This all seems like information that coincides with things that have been put out there by people like Whitney Webb. We now have this new book out there that, in my opinion, has some, suspect information. Remember, I'm not one of those guys that thinks that the Epstein files ever were digitized. And I know that John Dugan has the story that he got the physical files and then digitized them, etc., or they were digitized by the man who was in charge, who did die a suspicious early death and was very, very vocal that he was being screwed over. Ricari, I believe his name is. So, these are things we all have to look at, but we can't go in jumping in because we want to believe information. Now, the bottom line is we have to find a way to bring this woman in whatever country she's at. And we can't allow her to commit suicide either. And we should also be worried about these 10,000 pages that, again, a judge has ruled that will be now, I believe it's ruled on in January, the 16th, and a couple weeks away for when we're going to find out if we're going to get those 10,000 pages. So, page 6, the Post, they're putting it out there. She's being protected in safe houses. The UK and Israel are some of the locations. Make sure to thumbs this video up right now. We're doing real independent media right here. And we're doing it 3 to 7 times a day on a multitude of subjects, guys. A multitude of subjects. And, it's 2020. I need your support now more than ever to bring this stuff to the public. As everybody knows, we start a new GoFundMe every single month. So if you want to financially support me, now's the time to do it. It's January, well, I guess it just turned January 2nd on the East Coast, but it's January 1st. We just started a new month, and I give everything away I do for free. All my documentary films, they're free right here in the playlist section. Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, my 9/11 pictures. Had Dylan Avery on for an hour today discussing his new 9/11 documentary on World Trade Center Building 7 and so much more. You can check that out. Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. Remember, not asking you to buy the DVDs. They're all here for free in the playlist section. Asking you to check them out and share the information. That's what I need from you. Okay? And the other thing is that when we talk about high-level sexual assault and powerful people and corruption and protection, we can't forget that, Epstein, was he a billionaire? They said 500 million, 600 million. They didn't get all of his assets. The judge wasn't convinced before the suicide that he was divulging everything. But he was worth a lot to a lot of people, whether that be the information in the blackmail or the investments. Okay? Do you think that Bill Gates wanted that information out, that he and Epstein were tight after the fact that he'd been convicted? Huh? You think he wanted it out? No. It's the same thing that Disney, who owns ESPN, who's in league with the UFC, and WME Entertainment, that brokers these huge deals, the $8 billion deal, don't want to let you know that there's a multitude of evidence out there that Conor McGregor, last year in Dublin, Ireland, brutally beat, raped, and sodomized a woman. And it's being covered up so they can have him fight, and he can make that money for him. So what I need you to do is go over to my Twitter when you get a chance, at Jason Burmis, retweet this video and thread, go check out the information for yourself, make sure I'm not making anything up, because that's not what we do here. We tell factual stuff. That's the real deal. So once again, share this information with others. We can make a difference. This woman needs to be brought to justice. The idea that she's being hidden away from the good people in the FBI and that's being allowed to happen should let you know. This supposed administration that's going after the deep state, they ain't doing the best job, are they? I love you guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.